Welcome, everyone. I can't believe it's actually Thanksgiving, but we're almost there. A strange Thanksgiving, but certainly I can't think of a better place to be than right here on this Sunday evening, either in person or Zooming, in order to show our gratefulness, reflect on the blessings that have been part of our lives, even though sometimes during this pandemic that doesn't seem very possible. And sometimes it doesn't seem like there's any blessing, but there is. And my blessing is just seeing everyone here and knowing that Star is reaching out to people in many new and different ways. Also, one quick little comment Peter shared with me. Take these glasses off. Thanks to everyone who have sent cards of thanks to John Bullard via Peter. He has taken all of the cards, has put them together, and has delivered them to John Bullard, who was at Eden Terrace. And of course, going in and out is somewhat limited, but the staff has read cards to him, has created his own bulletin board, put all of the cards on there. They have read him the comments that have been written. And Peter was over there a couple of days ago and with some more cards, and John made the staff person go up to his room, get the bulletin board, and said to Peter, "Will you read them again for me?" So thank you. We have made someone very happy in return for him making us very happy. So we'll continue to stay in touch with John, and it's my hope and Peter's hope, and it's a prayer as well, that when we're able to come together, when COVID is something behind us, that John will be able to join us here, and he'll be able to play the piano for us because he's a wonderful musician. So we're going to keep those thoughts. So keep that in your good thoughts and prayers. Thanks this evening to Gail McCormick and Emily Nelson, who will be sharing their reflections with us later. They are as well our tea servers, so they've got double duty this evening. Thanks to Pat Hasty, who's our greeter, and to our Zoom director, Catherine Wakefield. She makes all of this happen for us in such a smooth, easy way. And to Kathy Quackenbush, who is our musician this evening. I would invite everyone at this point to just turn over your service sheet, and there are 3 services for December listed. Our usual service on the second Sunday, our usual service on the 4th Sunday in December, but also what has now become a wonderful tradition on December the 17th, which is a Thursday evening. We will meet here in this room at 7 o'clock. And I just want to say that all 3 of these services will be filled with music, a variety of music, from our piano and Christmas carols to Frank Walker, whose misty, ethereal music will be shared on Blue Christmas, as well as our friend Steve Doughty will be with us to play his hammered dulcimer. And Peter Moore and Kathy Quackenbush will sort of be in and out of all of those services. And our reflection on the 27th will be music for healing. What a better way to end this year. You know, hindsight is 2020, and I'm looking forward to it being just that, just that. So we hope that you'll to join us for as many of these services as possible. And again, all of them will be offered via Zoom, so come join us, however. Turning the sheets back over, let us gather and welcome with the call to prayer. Joining our voices, let us pray together. We bid you welcome, who come with weary spirit seeking rest, who come with troubles that are too much with you, who come hurt and afraid. We bid you welcome, who come with hope in your heart, who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous. We bid you welcome, who are seekers to a new faith, who come to probe and explore, who come to learn. We bid you welcome, who enter this place as a homecoming, who have found here room for your spirit, who find in this people a family. Whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. And now Emily is going to light our community candle as we gather together. And as she's lighting the candle, let us again join our hearts and our voices in the responsive prayer so that we are blessing our time together this evening. Creator God, we always ask before we thank, for we are asking creatures. We ask for love. And thank you for the love you have inspired in us. We ask to be closer to you. And thank you for our capacity to pray. We ask for your understanding. And thank you for bringing us the light of your presence. We ask for happiness. And thank you for the joy of life. We ask for strength. And thank you for the courage you have given us to hope. We ask for your presence. And thank you for living in our hearts. We ask, and we have already received. Blessed be your name, O God, our Creator. Amen.
I would like to dedicate my reflection this evening to my first best friend, my mother, who would have celebrated her 87th birthday today. A 25-year friendship of mine abruptly ended at the end of September 2019, and I have no idea why. I have drifted away from friends before, but that was usually a mutual thing. One or the other of us moved away, or we no longer shared the same interests. And most of those friends are still in touch at Christmas, or if we happen to be in the same place at the same time. As a result of this event, I have been thinking a lot about friendship this past 14 months. Aristotle saw friendship as one of the true joys of life. He outlined two kinds of friendships that are more accidental than intentional: a friendship of utility, where each party is in the friendship for the benefit they each receive. This relationship is usually temporary. When the benefit ends, so does the friendship. The second kind of friendship is based in pleasure. The emotion is grounded in the emotion they feel at a given time or during a certain activity. These friendships often end when either person's tastes or preferences change. Aristotle's final form of friendship seems to be the most preferable. This friendship is based on mutual appreciation of the virtues the other person holds dear, the people themselves and the qualities they represent provide the incentives for the two parties to be in each other's lives. These relationships usually endure over long periods of time and require time and intention. They depend on mutual growth. We've seen them at their worst and watched them grow, or we may have endured mutual hardship with them. And these friendships include the other two types. They are beneficial and pleasurable. In an article about friendship I had read in 2001, the authors of the article talked about a Japanese word, amai, which means the expectation to be sweetly and indulgently loved. There is no direct translation for the word amai in English, so the authors came to the conclusion that the closest word that came to it was the 17th century word cherishment. Cherishment is what people want from their friends, the experience of feeling precious. And as we saw with Aristotle, these friendships take time and intention. What are some of the ways to cherish our friends? Listen to their rants and dramas in life. A good friend doesn't always mean having the right words, but knows how to be a good listener. Be there when they need you, especially during their struggles in life. Keep the promises you make to them. Communicate with them. Check in and make time for them. Celebrate their accomplishments and be loyal. Perhaps we can learn a great deal about friendship from our animal companions. I know our dog Ralphie has listened to a lot of my rants over the last 11 years he has been with us. He's never judged me. He comforts and uplifts my spirits when I am feeling blue, and he is always happy to see me. In the Celtic tradition, there is a beautiful understanding of love and friendship. It is the idea of soul love, or anam cara. In his book, Anam Cara, John O'Donohue tells us that with your anam cara, you can share your innermost self, the hidden intimacies of your life, your mind, and your heart. And deep within each of us is the divine light that is a friend to us, who does cherish us beyond measure and understanding.
Over the last few years, as I have grown older and maybe a tad bit wiser, I've learned a little bit more about friendship and love and what it feels like to be cherished. It's a feeling that I think we all crave, even if we can't put a definition to it. I've thought a lot about what it means to cherish something or someone and to be cherished in return. It's a sense of wholeness, fullness, of being precious to someone, of being adored and treasured. But I don't think that even those words really convey what cherishment really means. Perhaps cherishment can be likened to unconditional love. To me, unconditional love is what a parent has for their child. It's what I felt from my mother all the time. I never had to worry whether I was loved, even if she was angry with me. It's a selfless love, a love that knows no bounds and carries no judgments, places no blame, and has no expectations. Sadly, many of us have never experienced this kind of love on this earthly plane of existence. But I believe that to truly cherish someone or something means to love them with a spiritual love, not an earthly love. Now, not too long ago, David and I went to the beach for a long weekend. And for those of you who don't know, I kind of fancy myself as a sun goddess, and I am a self-proclaimed beach bum. The ocean is where I go to restore my soul. I feel at peace there, unlike any peace I've ever felt elsewhere. And as is customary, on our last day, I took myself down to the beach for a walk and talk with God or the divine or whatever you want to choose to call it. As I walked along the beach where the ocean meets the sand, I find bits and pieces of the lives that once lived. Broken and tattered, they tell the story of the beauty they once were. And for a moment, I see a reflection of my own life and know the feeling of being tossed around and battered and broken and lamenting the me that once was. But as I walk along, holding the different fragments of different lives in my hands, I'm struck with the realization that this is really how life works. We get tossed around sometimes and broken and battered, and then someone comes along and scoops up a piece of us and carries us with them, holding that piece of us gently in their hands and hearts, and we do the same for others. We are all carrying around pieces of lives of those we have loved and cherished. We find beauty in others' brokenness. For each fragment, each piece is beautiful in its own right. You see, no matter how small or large those pieces may be, they still hold the divine spark, that divine light that is in all things. You cannot reduce something small enough as to get rid of the light, for eventually you are left with only the light. And that is what really matters, that we recognize the light, the divine in each other and in everything around us. Namaste is such a good word. The divine in me honors the divine in you. I've been reading this book lately by Mike Dooley called A Beginner's Guide to the Universe. It has given me so many good nuggets of wisdom to ponder on and think about. They've given me hope and a renewed sense of belonging and worthiness. I'd like to share a few with you, and perhaps they will be a good reminder that you too are worthy and cherished, that we all are. You are God's only chance to be you, to see what no one else will ever see, to hear what no one else will ever hear, and to think what no one else will ever think, and to feel what no one else will ever feel. You are more precious than you can ever imagine. You are already one of the most important people who will ever live. So how often, as the butterfly flits about, do you stop and just really look at it, truly seeing its beauty, knowing that it's a fleeting thing? Its life at that point is already almost over, yet it never stops to worry about tomorrow. Or when you see a shooting star, does it make your eyes light up and bring a smile to your face? I know it does for me. And how did you feel the last time you saw a rainbow in the sky? Did it cause you to pause and smile? Did you whisper a little thank you? I do. Each and every one of these things, like so many others, are gifts, little reminders that we are loved and we are worthy. Another quote from Mike Dooley's book shares the same message, albeit a bit more eloquently than I just did. The reason butterflies float, fireflies light, comets fall, trees grow, cats purr, and tails wag is because each is reflecting something in you at the very moment of perception, disguised by the elements, captured in time, to remind you of your sublime divinity. And then there's Rumi, who's one of my favorite poets and writers. He offers such wonderful nuggets of wisdom, too numerous to count. But tonight I've chosen two to share with you that reiterates the message. The first being, the light of my face comes from the candle of my spirit. And the second, behind every atom of this world hides an infinite universe. And I will end this with a quote by Aja Monet. May your hands be an extension of your heart, and may you do the work of love with them. As you all leave here tonight, I hope you will stand a little taller, feel a little lighter, and breathe a little easier, knowing that you are loved and cherished, but most importantly, that you are worthy of it all. Namaste.
As we think about those whose lives, whose friendship we cherish, whether it's a joy or whether it's a concern for that life and that friendship, we bring those, and I invite you to grab all of your little pebbles, 3 of them. Those of you who are Zooming with us, if you have your vase and your little stones ready, this is the time in which we do indeed remember the joys, the concerns, the love, the cherishment, and those who wait with us while we drop our pebbles are present with us. And these are our prayers being offered and then spread out into the universe. There are 2 vases, so if we'll just sort of come this way and then stop at both of the vases. You don't have to wait until one person is finished. Just join together as we share our joys and our concerns. Kathy's going to start, and then she's going to play some music for us. Will you please join us in offering your joys, your concerns? Joining our voices and sharing our hearts, let us offer this prayer from Julian of Norwich. All shall be well. All shall be well. All manner of things shall be well. All shall be well. As most of you know, STAR depends on each and every one of us, our gifts of time, talent, and treasure. We have, for folks here, the offering basket by the door. For those who are Zooming with us, if you would like to make a contribution, the information about how to do that online is available. And we are most grateful for your generosity. And joining our voices and hearts once again as we give thanks for the generosity. And this evening, a portion of the offering has been designated for Foster Paws Rescue for Cats. And that is honoring Gail and Emily for sharing their wonderful creative energy with us. Our voices together, ubi caritas et amor, ubi caritas Deus ibi est. Live in charity and steadfast love. Live in charity. God will dwell with you. I would invite everyone to please stand as we celebrate the invocation of direction.
Connected to iPhone.
We are all one in spirit. We are one in the land. Rock and Feather have joined us this evening because they too have a spirit. Holy, holy, holy.
Connected to iPhone.
The Great Spirit, the one before and after time, desires to be known by us, not just believed in by us. The Great One, the mysterious presence that invites us to know that we are the goodness of creation. Walkintaka blesses us to accept. Blessing to allow our vocation to know him in great joy and fertility. It has been asked, if we have a body, we shouldn't just sit, but to go out and walk in the rain. Because the universe is a conspiracy organized for our benefit. We burn sweetgrass and sage to connect to the moon, the stars, the ocean, and the earth, through trees, animals, and through other humans, and through ourselves. The Holy One is within all of us. She is the full circle of air, of earth, fire, water, and essence, because body, mind, spirit, emotions will change. Know that the drumbeat is the drumbeat of the universe, celebrating the goodness of creation in each one of us. The flute's sweet, haunting sound reminds us we are known so that we may know God. Facing to the east, the The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the East tell us every grain of dust has a wonderful soul. We are all stardust because we were created as a part of it all in the beginning and will remain so created in the end. Altogether, we are the goodness of creation. We are a word about God and a book about it. We are a revelation of the divine. A quarter turned to the right, facing to the south. The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the South want us to know that heaven and earth go your way. Your trust in this fact has already healed you. Altogether, we are the goodness of creation. We are a word about God and a book about God. We are a revelation of the divine. A quarter turned to the right, facing to the west. The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the West tell us that people are changed more by pleasure, by doing nice things and wonderful things for them, than by anything else. Pleasure, not power, not willpower or coercion, is how people are more deeply transformed. Altogether, we are the goodness of creation. We are a word about God and a book about God. We are a revelation of the divine. A quarter turned to the right, facing to the north. The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the North tell us not to disdain your body, for the soul is just as safe in its body as in the kingdom of heaven. The soul loves the body. Altogether, we are the goodness of creation. We are a word about God and a book about God. We are a revelation of the divine. Facing to the center, the grandmothers and the grandfathers of the center space want us to see the face of God in every face. Our circle connects us to the living universe from which we were born into goodness. Altogether, we are the goodness of creation. We are a word about God and a book about God. We are a revelation of the divine. All related. Namaste.
You are invited to join in the way of tea, gathering heart and mind and spirit for a meditation on sweet balance. If you would, find a comfortable position in your chair, perhaps with your feet on the floor, spaced slightly apart. Your back straight, resting on and supported by the back of your chair. Your hands resting just above your knees or together in your lap. One hand resting in the other with palms open. Then close your eyes. Spend a moment resting in this position, acquainting yourself with the rhythm of your breathing and the vibration of soft background music. Now, if you would, imagine that the basket of sweets is being readied for serving. First, shared between the servers. Then, one server begins to move around the circle, stopping in front of each person, inviting each to reach into the basket and select one of the sweets. A server now stands in front of you, holds the basket for you to select your sweet. As you peer inside the basket, you wonder, what will be the sweet this evening? Imagine what it might be. Having made your selection, the server moves on, and for a moment, you are left holding the sweet between your fingers. Imagine how it feels. The sturdy cakiness of a cookie, the soft cushiness of a piece of candy, then you take a bite, or if tiny enough, you pop it into your mouth. The result is an unleashing of a subtle sweetness or an explosion of delightful decadence, made even more intense as you continue to chew, each bite being more pleasurable than the last. Finally, you swallow. You can feel the sugary concoction slip down your throat and begin to wind its way downward. A slow movement of sweetening, filling nooks and crannies of your body with the sensuality of goodness, leaving you aglow in the honeydew of gentleness and kindness. Settle in this space and spend a bit more time, feeling the sweetness trickle into the center of your being, savoring in your heart and mind and spirit, reflecting on what such goodness means to you.
Continuing in the way of tea, you are now invited to gather heart and mind and spirit for a meditation on bitter balance. Remaining in a comfortable position in your chair with eyes closed, again, spend a moment acquainting yourself with the rhythm of your breathing and the vibration of soft background music. Now, if you would, imagine the tea being prepared and readied for serving. First, shared between the servers. Then, both begin to move around the circle, stopping in front of each person, offering the tray filled with small glass vessels, inviting each to select one. Having made your selection, the server moves on, and for a moment, you are holding the tiny chalice before lifting it to your lips. As you move it toward your lips, you get a whiff of the musky fragrance of the freshly brewed green tea. Imagine that aroma as you breathe in and exhale slowly. Your thoughts shift to wonderings about the brew. How strong is the brew? Is it too warm? Too cool? Then you take a small sip. It is not too warm or too cool, but rigorously strong. Imagine that as the liquid rests on your tongue, it is almost as though every taste bud has become hyper alert, in violent protest of the pungent flavor, seemingly more intense since the tastiness of the sweet lingers. The bitterness begins its invasion, determined to overcome any of the residual lusciousness. And then you swallow. But the taste has lost much of its harshness. Instead, you experience a nectar flavored with the essence of both sweet and bitter. These two ingredients complementing each other, and when contemplated together, represent a symbol of harmony and balance. Settle in this space and spend a little time letting harmony and balance wind their way to the center of your being, letting your heart and mind and spirit be refreshed in the letting go of one versus the other, reflecting on the peacefulness of restful soul. The server, again, stands in front of you. You place your teacup on the tray. It is empty, but you are not.
We end our time this evening in the closing prayer And I'm going to invite Gail to come and extinguish our community candle. Joining our voices and hearts, let us share together the closing prayer. And though we extinguish our community candle, we do not extinguish the warmth of community, the spirit of gratitude, the fire of commitment, and our shared compassion during this time together as community. The light of hope, hope for change that brings new blessings into our lives and the lives of those around us, remains and will continue to burn brightly. We carry the light of hope in our hearts until we are together again. I'm going to invite everyone to stand as we offer our blessing and sending out. At some point, won't it be wonderful to be able to really share our voices in song? Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the love of God surround us everywhere, everywhere we may go until we meet again. A blessing-filled Thanksgiving, however that looks, whatever shape it takes. And I hope to see everyone again on the 13th of December. Remember, there are 5 Sundays in November, so we have a little break before we meet again on the 13th of December. Happy Thanksgiving.